So I am going to go through a little bit of long division with you, kind of a review of what you did in previous years, and then start to move ahead to divide with decimals. So I'm going to bring up my screen here. I have some problems written down for you. The first one is 4,494 divided by 6. So what we first have to determine is essentially how many times does 6 go into this number? So we ask ourselves, does 6 go into 4? No, it does not. Does 6 go into 44? And the answer is yes. So we figure out how many times we skip count 6 to get to 44 without going over. So when we do that, we get 7. And see where I put the 7? 7 times 6 is 42. And then I subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 4 minus 4 is 0. Now I bring down that 9. How many times does 6 go into 29? And that would be 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. And now I subtract. 9 minus 4 is 5, and 2 minus 2 is nothing. Now I bring down the 4. How many times does 6 go into 54? And that is 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54, and when we subtract, we get 0. So our answer is 749. Let's do it with a double-digit number on the outside. Okay, so we have 4,932 divided by 12. So how many times does 12 go into this number? Does 12 go into 4? No. Does 12 go into 49? Well, yes, it does. We can have it go into that number 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. And when we subtract, we get 1. We bring down the 3. Does 12 go into 13? Yes, it does, 1 time. 1 times 12 is 12. When we subtract, we get a 1. And we bring down the 2. Does 12 go into 12? Yes, 1 time. 1 times 12 is 12, and when we subtract, we get 0. So our answer is 411. Now let's add one thing into this. Let's say we add a decimal to the number inside the box. So we have 98.82 divided by 4. So in other words, how many times does 4 go into this number? Now we're going to address this decimal. When we have this decimal inside the box, we move it up right away above the line. Now let's start dividing. Let's just forget about it. 4 goes into 9 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. When we subtract, we get 1. Let's bring down the 8. 4 goes into 18 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. When we subtract, we get 2. Don't worry about that decimal right there. We're just going to forget about it. We bring down the 8. 4 goes into 28 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. When we subtract, we get 0. Now, don't be fooled. Just because we got 0, we're not done. We still have this 2 here. So we bring that 2 down. Does 4 go into 2? No, it doesn't. So we say 0, and 0 times 4 is 0. When we subtract, we get a 2. Now, when we're working with decimals, what we do is we keep adding a decimal here, or a 0 here, and bringing it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, and 20 minus 20 is 0. Now we are done. 24.705. All right. We're going to do one more problem. I'm sorry that this kind of ran into it. I'm just going to try to cover that up. I'm just going to cover that up with something here so we're not distracted by it. Okay. 6.564 divided by 12. So when we have a decimal inside here, we are just going to bring it up above the line, and then we forget. Now, 12, does that go into 6? Nope, we have a 0. So 0 times 12 is 0, and when we subtract, we still get the 6. Now we're going to bring that 5 down. How many times does 12 go into 65? That's 5 times, because 5 times 12 is 60. And when we subtract, we get 5. Then we bring the 6 down. How many times does 12 go into 56? That's 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. And when we subtract, we get 8. And then we bring down the 4. How many times does 12 go into 84? 7 times. 7 times 12 is 84. And when we subtract, we get 0. So our answer is 0.547.